Good evening and welcome back to Nice Drop of Port. We are live again tonight. We've got a special guest, John, with us this evening, and we're going to let you know how and why he's on the show. But my goodness, Western United away this weekend. If it rings a bell, Western United are the team that thumped us 4-0 at home a few months ago, which was Matthew's one and only visit to Mount Smart Stadium, so we can have a chat about that again. Auckland FC, 2 points clear of Adelaide, top of the ALeague at the moment, 7 clear of Western in third, big bunch of teams in those playoff places, and Melbourne City just outside the playoff spots, 9 points behind Auckland. We're going to be talking a little bit on the show today about how many more wins we might need to be getting into those playoff positions. We're about halfway through the season, and we're going to have a half-term report this evening on the team from us. Couple of few idiots. Good evening. Welcome, Matthew and Robbie. How you doing, mates? Guys, how you going?
Good. Good to be back.
Yeah. Good to be back. Yeah, we had a little bit of break. And John, welcome to the show, mate. Now, I'm in the unusual situation of not knowing much about you or why you're here, but Matthew, do you want to tell us a little intro?
Really
for John
scraping the barrel this week.
Yeah, I was just flicking through the file facts. It's like, oh no. Yeah, he might come on. He might come on. He can't make it.
He'll do. It's bring your mate to the podcast day again.
Yeah, that's
He's been asking me for weeks, so finally caved.
Finally got you. Well, what happened was we're both keen golfers, and I joined a golf club, Titirangi Golf Club. If some people out there might know it, some might not know it. And I turned up, and the person at the pro shop told me that the people that I was supposed to play with had all dropped out. You're on your own. You've got no one to play with. Yeah, that's basically that's the story of your life there, Matt. So they said to me, you've got two options. There's a group of, because you're playing a 4, if anyone doesn't know golf out there, there's 3 people on one tee on the 8th, and there's 3 people about to go off the first. Who do you want to pick? You can pick either or. So I looked out the window and I looked at the people on the first tee, and they're a bit old. And then I looked over to the 8th tee, and that's where I saw John and 2 others. I said, they look a bit more my age. I'll go and join those guys. Went over, introduced myself, and then straight away I could obviously recognise John was near where I'm from ish. So we're walking down the fairway and we're like talking, and that's where we figured out that we're both from Solihull. We both went to the same school, knew this, knew that, talked about the area. But the problem was, and this is where I suppose we get into the football bit, is there's always that lingering question when you're from our area: who do you support? And we finally got to the next tee. And I said, John, I'm going to have to ask you what football team. And this is where it got really tense, because it's either going to go Birmingham or it's going to go Villa. It's going to go one way or the other. If he picks the Birmingham, we carry on and we could be friends. If he goes Aston Villa, I'm just going to pack
building it.
And I'm just going to walk straight back. I'm going to walk straight back to the clubhouse. Thanks, John. See you later. Enjoy your round.
Just on that, mate. I've got a bit of a confession, pal.
Oh no! You can't.
Let me down. You can change your religion, you can change your wife, but you can't change your football team.
Exactly, that's right.
I'm still a blue nose.
Oh, unless you're Robbie.
Hey, come on.
Easy.
So the answer's Birmingham, right? Birmingham City.
So the answer was Birmingham, and
right,
this is how we find ourselves. And I've been lucky to go to John's wedding and went to his kind of golf stag do, and so it was good. It was good that he picked the right.
Probably wouldn't have got an invite if I was a Villa fan.
No, I don't think. No, that's right. That would have been it. You can stick your wedding up your arse. You can enjoy it all. Enjoy your Aston Villa times and all that. So yeah. There you go. There's the story.
Other than being mates with Matt, John, like how are you finding life? Are you getting behind Auckland FC then? That's what's going on here? You've been going to a few games.
Yes. No, yeah, it's good to have it's nice to have a proper kind of second team. Aside from obviously my main club back home, and it's interesting. Like I lived in Wellington for 6 years. Never sort of bothered going to a Phoenix game. Just sort of never got around to it. Saw cricket tests, rugby tests. All Blacks. but just didn't feel, just never really gripped by the Phoenix. Like, no one really knocked around with, fancied it, and it wasn't a great vibe by all accounts. Like, attendance was pretty poor, and it wasn't until Auckland FC, it's sort of reinvigorated football in this country, and it's obviously taken it to the next level. And what an unbelievable start! Like, it's just an absolute fairy tale so far. So yeah, certainly hopped on the bandwagon this time.
And have you been down to the games?
So yeah, another confession. I've had tickets 3 times now, and I'm definitely going to the next derby, the next Phoenix game on the 22nd. But for the first 2 occasions, people have got me tickets for whatever reason. I haven't been able to make it. So, but I've kept a keen eye on the highlights and stuff.
This must be a Solihull thing. This must be a Birmingham
Solihull thing. Unreliable.
Yeah, flaky.
Yeah,
just a bunch of flakes.
Flaky. Well, you've got to remember that the Range Rover, the Land Rover, was built in Solihull, so that may be another correlation. They can be very unreliable at times as well. So maybe there's a theme emerging. There goes that sponsorship from Range Rover.
That's gone.
So, yeah, they're out the window. Yeah,
other SUVs are available.
Yeah, the SUVs are. Yeah, Kia, if you're listening, they seem to smash.
But yeah, for whatever reason, the world's conspired against me, and I haven't been able to get to a game. But I'm pumped for next weekend. Should be a big one.
You're going to the derby. You're at the derby.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, at the business end of the season as well. Yeah, so should be good.
Nice,
lovely. And your connection to football is that you were at Spark Sport when they had the rights to the Premier League. So you've got a bit of context, is that right? Of football in this country,
so,
how hard it is to get an audience,
Yeah, absolutely. So worked for Spark for a couple of years before that sort of packed up in 2022. And I work for Golf NZ at the moment, so still kind of in the sports kind of media industry, if you like, over here. But yeah, the whole kind of sports rights environment has been interesting, in Australasia, definitely. So yeah, I mean, Spark Sport was in my tenure there, it definitely was the glory days. We had EFL, Premier League, Champions League, UEFA Conference, and UEFA Cup, or whatever, UEFA League, FA Cup, like the whole shebang. And it was awesome. It was the one to subscribe to. We had we certainly gave Sky Sports a good run for their money there, but unfortunately it all kind of went south for us after COVID, and Sky ended up bidding crazy money for the current Premier League deal they've got. They've got 6 years from the 22-23 season, obviously all 380 games, but they completely outbid us for that. And then that was pretty much the end of the tether when we lost all the football rights. But I digress. That's a long story.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole talking about Premier League rights, but I do remember. I mean, I've been in this country a long time, and I do remember that at one stage nobody wanted it. Like, it was bizarre. Yeah. Like, I mean, I think the Sky had it for a long time, and then you remember there was this consortium came in and had some weird kind. They were almost the first ones where you could beam it off your laptop. I forget their name, but it was. What I'm saying is there wasn't. I don't think at the time there was a lot of value was put in football. Does that sound right?
No.
Back then, before Spark had it?
Yeah. I mean, it's weird. Like, there was. I mean, obviously the Premier League did pretty well for us, and was probably amongst the sort of domestic cricket, because we never really had the All Blacks. But that's, again, I don't want to get too into the weeds with the rights. But the Premier League would have been, a good bulk of our subscribers would have solely, it's always been, there's been interest in the product overseas for sure. And it's like every Kiwi I bump into that's, my generation or the one older, they're all somehow Liverpool or United fans. So they all grew up, the dawn of the Premier League era, the 80s, the 90s kind of thing. And they're all into it. They all have some kind of token team. But yeah, I guess that's only really sort that's always been the sort of overseas international product that Kiwis keep an eye on. But obviously, the time difference is a bit of a shocker for that. But now, this seems like the A-League's sort of ignited, and now we've got a couple of teams. It's certainly taken off over here, it seems.
Yeah, it's an absolute game changer, Auckland FC. Really, in terms of the love of football, I think in Auckland at the moment. I mean, who knows how long it'll last, but it's a big start. So what we normally do on the show, John, is we talk about the last game, but that was a few weeks ago. Now we've had a bye. Let's bring Robbie in here. Robbie, we've had a bye, but I said at the top of the show, we're still 2 points top of the table. And then we're nine points above the team that's outside of the playoff chance spots. Is kind of this a good spot for us to be in here? But 11 games to go. Are we feeling confident still?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think the fact that like you say, there's only 11 games to go. It would take something pretty monumental for us not to make finals. I had a quick look back over the last couple of seasons, and for the teams that made 6th place, which is, that's the cutoff for the finals, 39 points last season, and then 35, 39, 39, 37. So averaging, you're probably looking at about 36, 37 points, and we're basically a win and a half off that. So for us, it would take something crazily, drastic for us to suddenly drop 11 straight games and not make it. And I keep saying the beauty of this league is that it is actually quite tight, despite the distance between Auckland in first and Brisbane in last. On any given day, Brisbane could upset a team. Like they beat Sydney a couple of weeks ago in Sydney, and that was their first win of the season. Perth took points off Auckland in the game over in Perth. Anything can happen from here on, but Auckland's given themselves the best possible chance. The mere fact that we're this far into the season with, a good lead at the top of the table, there's no reason why we shouldn't be confident to make finals.
Well, that's a really good stat. You say so about somewhere between 36 and 39 points is where 6th.
Yeah, that's over the last 5 seasons.
So, well, okay. I was thinking it would be a few more wins than that, but that's only two more wins. 2 more wins, and we're there.
That's all it'll take.
That's an incredible stat. And we're building, and we're certainly not looking like we're gonna fall behind. Matthew, look, how are you feeling about Western United this week? You have a few nightmares about Western United.
Yeah, I don't think I'm the best person to ask, really, am I? The last time I saw them in the flesh, they looked like Barcelona 2011, 2012, whatever. They looked like absolute world beaters when they pumped Auckland 4-0. On that basis, Auckland should be pretty bloody worried, I think, with the game coming up. But I don't know. I think they've got their house in order a bit more now. I'm just trying to think back to that game. Was that the game that they tried? Was that the one where was that the first game back when they lost Hall at centre, and then they played Sakai in the middle, and then they tried.
That's right.
Yeah, so I think there's probably a bit in that, isn't there? That they were kind of experimenting and moving things around, and I think they've kind of, as I mentioned, they've got their house back in order now, and they look a little bit more solid. But it's an away game. It's always tough. You've got to travel and try and pick something on the road. I've just been looking at the fixtures that they've got left. I mean, the fact that they can play Adelaide at home, and I think they've got Perth at home as well, pretty much looks like they're going to pick up enough points that's going to get them over the line and get them at least into the playoffs. But I don't know. I don't want to say too much about Western United. Again, they look like goal beaters last time I saw them.
Nando Pinnaker will be out for this game, potentially back for the derby. I think was the original news.
And Verstrada's out suspended as well. That's a big out for us.
Verstrada's out.
Yeah,
that's a big out. So John, you've been following it enough to see how good Verstrada is.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've kept an eye. I've pretty much watched the highlights for every game. It's we seem to be built off a solid defense. That's probably why we're top of the league. You know, we've conceded the fewest goals, you know, by 10 or 12 goals or something. So, yeah, like built on rock solid foundations. Obviously, Tommy Smith at the back there with all that experience. So yeah, that sort of bodes well for playoff time. I think when you know when everything becomes a bit of a cup final. You know, we're not going to leak silly goals. Hopefully.
That's a good point. I mean, I get they are like cup finals, the playoffs, Robbie. Pretty much once you get to that late stage.
Pretty much. If memory serves, I think the format will be top 2 get the first week off, and then you get the elimination finals, and then you get the semi-finals, and then grand final. So it's pretty high stakes once you make the top 6 for sure.
Yeah, are they a week apart? Is it just 3 weekends?
I think so.
The playoffs,
Yeah, I don't think they've fully.
So we want top
figured it out just yet, but I think that's There's usually they just want to keep rolling on generally.
Yeah. So hopefully we get top 2, and then we sit that elimination round out, and then we're fresh. I mean, it's a long way away, but Jesus, when you're talking, we only need 36 points. It's not that far away, is it?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah. That's right.
Just the ex-wife calling me on the phone. Would you believe?
Yikes.
Yikes. Anyway, tonight is a very special evening on Nice Drop Report. You may notice for our visual viewers that Matthew has dressed up specially. I've dressed up a little bit especially, but not as especially as Matt. And it's the half-term awards. The half-term awards night. Half-term's actually a school expression, but we're sort of halfway through the season, so we thought.
Matt looks like he's in the 6th form anyway. Like with that.
So, I told you this is as good as it's going to get. I've just whacked something on. I've been told it's an award show, so here I am, tie on. I'm good to go.
So John, hopefully you'll help us out. The first award up, we're going to quickly decide each one. The first award up is most improved, and by the way, generally we're talking about players, but there are able to be nominations for kind of other stuff to do with Auckland FC, other characters, other things. Most improved. What does anyone want to have a stab at that to start with?
Who wants to go?
I'll have a crack. I'll have a crack, Matt. It's generally most improved was the award that I picked up through school, playing in school sports teams. So this I feel is probably my area, which is never the award anyone really wanted. But hey, whatever.
Yeah, it's the first one as well. It's always early in the night. I remember.
Get him out of the way.
Someone's got to win it, man.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that'll keep him
I got my name. My name is on a trophy somewhere in St. Peter's College. I'll live on.
That's all that matters.
Most improved. I was trying to ever think about this before. I think the first one that came to mind was Nader Moreno. I think he, for someone who came in relatively late, had to steadily build up his minutes. Had a couple of games where I think all of us here were kind of like, oh, is he the right? He should start. Then he started. Then he didn't quite deliver. But then over the past month and a bit, he's really found his niche. He was the super sub a couple of times, and then started I think it's the last game against MacArthur, scored the first goal, I think, off the top of my head. I think he's just found himself a really nice little niche. He was the first name that popped to mind anyway. There were a couple of others, but I think that's the strongest for me.
That's a good shout. I thought about anyone else.
I'd second that. He's kind of my favourite player, more or less. You know, Colombian flair. Obviously, the super sub, the super late goals. It's like it's priceless having an asset you can bring off the bench that gives a crowd a boost. Could nick a goal here and there.
Definitely.
And yeah, the who did he score the winner against? 1-0 off the bar. Of the bar.
Western Sydney Wanderers.
Yeah,
the very late winner.
Yeah. Like that's just clutch,
I had May as my most improved.
He was the other one I was thinking. I think Germain's really, really improved, actually.
Yeah. And I think that's just because we've said about it the last couple of weeks or something. I think he's definitely benefited from not being the guy, the central figure up front. I think he's benefited from having Mata play in front of him, and he can just play off him in that kind of number 10 or whatever they call it these days, the floating role or something. So I think he was okay at the start. He must have been okay. He kept his position mostly through most of the games, but I think he's improved greatly in the last 2 or 3 games, maybe 4 games or something. So yeah,
it's fair.
All right, I think we're going to give it to I think we'll give it to Moreno though. I think so. Just over my. I'll give it the 3 against 1. Otherwise it'd be 2 against 2. What do we do?
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, yeah.
That's right. Up you come, son. Well done. All right, next up is well done, Nader. Surprise package. I was just going to start with this. I just think the left back De Vries, just how good and consistent he is. Like, never heard of him, but what a player. So anyone can top De Vries at left back?
No, it's same vibes for me. It was didn't know too much about him. The fact that he is on the wrong side of 25 came out of the National League, and he kept out in his position a championship winner in Scott Galloway, and he's just never let go. Yeah, the quality of his play is so solid, reliable. That left boot is he's easily the left back of the competition at the moment for me. So definitely surprise package. That was the easiest one, easiest to watch pick for me.
I had 2. I was tossing up between them. It's either the inflatable slide or the sandpit. I just couldn't. They were a real surprise for me. Those 2. They kind of came as
very fair call.
A bit of a common theme with De Vries. They really did come out of left field. Those 2. I didn't expect to turn up to a football game and have an inflatable slide or a sandpit. I think I'm going to give it to the sandpit. I just think because, well, there just seemed to be more people in it. There's always a queue at the inflatable slide. I'm not going to forget that. It'll always be there. It'll always be our memory. And we know old matey boy jumped down it and tested it out. And fair play to him.
Nick Vicker, chief executive, went down.
Yeah, the sandpit continues just to offer it. They love it. The kids are loving it. The parents are loving it. It keeps them busy. I think I'm going to give it.
Did the sandpit get bigger after the first game? Where they kind of, they made the big, we're making a beach. And then I remember looking at it and distinctly went, oh, okay. No, it didn't?
It didn't.
It felt bigger the week after the next home game.
Well,
yeah. I don't know.
I thought I went down twice, and I remember it was the same size. Yeah, we should follow up on that, but I don't think it got bigger.
Yeah,
okay. Fair enough.
These I feel are the things that people really want to know.
It's the hard-hitting questions.
Yeah, they are really the hard-hitting.
I do remember they said for the first couple of games it was going to be for the kids, and then later on there was going to be like a beach party or something. And I don't know if that ever got off the ground, because I still think it was just the kids in there. I still think they maybe didn't quite hit the mark with that one, but yeah. All right, surprise package. One vote for the beach, John. Surprise package.
Deciding vote.
I mean,
if he goes to the beach as well,
I'd be keen because obviously I haven't actually got to a game yet. I'll hold my hands up there. But I didn't actually know about the beach and the slide until listening to last episode I think it was mentioned on the Tommy Smith episode. And I was like, wow, that's a shrewd maneuver by, Go Media or whoever, bring that family feel in. And I can't ever say I've been to a football game and seen either a slide or a sandpit. So
this
is surprise packages. Yeah.
When you go to the Wellington game, you're going to see some things, John, that you've not seen before at a football match. I can tell you, there is some unusual stuff going on.
Hey, he is a Birmingham City fan, though. He has seen plenty.
Yeah,
not good, surprising, but he's definitely surprising.
You've seen things.
Yeah, he has seen things that no one.
Yeah, these are a little bit more light-hearted. These things that you're going to see.
Yeah, they are. They're very much so. Yeah, that's right.
So what did you go for a surprise package for the beach and the inflatable as well, John?
Yeah,
sounds like it.
All right, well, so the Beach and DeFreeze are going to have to share that award. Well done.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah.
Moving on quickly to the Bounce Back Ability Award. And this is kind of like, I did have it as like a redemption award, but I thought that was a bit dark. So Bounce Back Ability, this is someone or something that, was on their way out or didn't look good or was struggling or not playing and came back and is now strong. I mean, I was just going to go with Tommy Smith. Tommy Smith, for the first 5, 6, 7 games, he was a sub, came on late, didn't have much of a role really from the outside looking in. I mean, we spoke to him last week and he explained, he's a patient guy and he's waiting for his chance. But I do think to keep your mental togetherness when you're not picked week after week after week after week, and then what happened there was an opportunity to pick him and he still wasn't picked, and then he got picked and he's stayed in the team since. I think that shows real bounce back ability to take a bit of a hit like that at the beginning and then play like he has. So my vote's with Tommy.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyone else want to go?
Well, it's probably a chance for me to hold my hands up. I think I'm going to have to go with Jake Brimmer with what I said straight off the bat with the first show. I thought he looked absolutely terrible straight off the bat. But like he just basically got off the plane and got himself nicely acquainted with the Auckland nightlife and then just rocked onto the pitch and got his boots on. But he's actually that's his fault. But I think I'm gonna have to go with Jake Brimmer. He's actually tailed off a little bit, but he has set a really high bar. He had that first one game, but after that he's been really good. Redemption is probably where he fits into it, but definitely could fit into the bounce back ability for me. But, yeah.
Right. Fair enough. I just changed mine actually because I initially had Moreno for very similar reasons to most improved, but then had another think about it. I've gone actually with Max Mata based on that miss against Perth from 7 yards out directly in front. And I remember said to you guys at the time afterwards, it was just reeks of a player who hasn't had minutes, out of form, thrown in, had his chance. But since then, he's come in, formed a great partnership with Guillermo Mai. They look like a proper 9-10 combination. And he's an all-white, came to the club. He's given the jersey number 9. That, there's already instant pressure on him. I mean, I'm a bit of a traditionalist with the numbers. If you have a 9 or a 10, there's got to be something about you. So the fact that he's, come in, finally got his chance, held on to it. He's now scoring goals. I'll go for him just for something different.
Nice. Okay. All right. Well, we've got a 3-way at the moment. Mata, Tommy Smith and Jake Brimmer. John?
I mean, that was pretty eloquent there.
I'll take it.
I couldn't. No, it wasn't you.
No, fair.
You just pick whichever one of us you thought was better. Yeah.
That pulled on that touched a pulled on a heartstring, like redemption. I like Mata as well.
We'll give it to Mata.
Yes.
Nice.
Hey, I like to make.
Nice work. Yeah. I just wanted to pick up on the number you were saying. You're a true traditionalist with the 9 and the 10, and Matthew mentioned last week that there was a 98 playing.
Yes.
And you know what? I had someone message me on Instagram, of all places, and saying they believed he was wearing 98 because he was French, and it was to celebrate the 98 France World Cup win.
Okay.
Yeah, still crap.
That's fair enough.
No, I'm not having it. Yeah, game's gone.
You not buying that?
27 years on. Bit of a weird anniversary to celebrate, isn't it?
Yeah. Probably before he was born or around the time he was born.
Yeah.
Not aware. No, he's pretty old. And to be fair, it hasn't actually worked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Valerja, man, he's well into his 30s. He played played Champions League and won French titles, so he's not bad. But he's in a bit of strife this week. He's been suspended for 2 games for abusing match officials. So You don't wear jersey 98, basically.
No. There you go. That's the new say no more. Yeah.
All right. Next to all, best ginger. This is random.
Oh,
only because so many gingers on the show, so many gingers around these days. We'll Robbie, why don't you start, because you've got no skin in the game in this one.
Yeah.
Well, you're the only definite non-ginger here.
Yeah, we can say for sure.
Can confirm, not a ginger. I mean, do I have to? I don't. Can we just move on from this category?
Move on from this one. How many we got in the team?
We all know.
We got Finn in the team, haven't we? He's a
Finn
ginger.
McKinley's probably the only.
Yeah,
Nando, maybe there's a hint of ginge there for Nando. I could be being too harsh.
Yeah,
maybe I don't know.
Maybe De Vries a little bit.
De Vries,
yeah.
Strawberry blonde rather than.
I think Finn's got the best. Finn's got the proper. Scarlet Barnet. He's really got. He's ginger and proud. That's a proper.
You can tell he's definitely SPF 70 plus.
He's all the way.
But
Finn
he owns
it.
it, He owns it.
I think
Finn.
He's got no issues with it. Yeah, Finn takes it home surely. Matthew, did you have any comments on the best ginger?
I'm surprised that I don't. I usually would. I usually do if the G word gets brought up. But no, I guess he takes it. He's like I said, he's all in with that hair, isn't he? I thought De Vries is a really good shout though. I bet he's been called ginger at some point in his life. So he could. It could sway towards him. Yeah.
I mean, the other option is our very own Big Red, of course, Blair, who comes on the show now and then.
Oh,
I mean, at the start of the season, the cameras were loving him, eh?
Loved them.
Couldn't get enough.
All right, we'll give it a Finn. All right, best goal.
Best goal.
Moving on. Best goal. Been a few good goals.
I think. Wow, this was pretty easy for me.
Yeah,
I thought. You give us the benchmark.
Guillermo Mai against Melbourne City. That pile driver from about 30 yards, curling top bends.
Yeah.
Does best goal mean technically best though, or like most important dramatic? Do you? I mean, I think the My goal technically beautiful.
Well, you failed to outline what the criteria was for it. You just said pick your best goal.
That is true.
If you think about match of the day, goal of the month, you think an absolute screamer from 40 yards. So in that sense, technical ability. But I do like what it means to the club and maybe to the result as well. Think of all the late goals we've had. Mine would have been a late goal for sure, but sorry. Continue.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You pick what you want. Yeah.
Mine was Brimmer's goal. I think against where he took the ball, he flicked it, and then he smacked it into the corner. I think it was away.
Yes.
That was Central Coast away or MacArthur?
The thing I remember was behind the goal they had the sauce bottles.
That's Central Coast. Yeah.
Coast. I was like, there you go. It's mustard. The goal was mustard. He knocked it in front of the mustard. It was mustard. It's got to be that. It's got to be for doing it in front of the sauce bottles. There was limbs in the sauce bottle end as well when it went in. So I think I'm gonna go with Brimmer. That was a really technically good goal. He kind of turned, flicked it, and knocked it into the corner with kind of the outside of his right foot. So I thought that's the one that came. That's the one that came to my mind. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember the sauce bottles. I called the girls in. I was like, "Come on, get in here. Come and see these massive sauce bottles."
What is that? I love it.
I thought it was very A-League. Very A-League. Very A-League. I thought
very A-League. It's the only stadium in the world that can say that. Sauce bottle in.
Yeah, you'll never sing that. You've got the sauce bottles.
That's right. Never sing that.
So there you go.
My favourite goal, I mean, I should have put favourite goal, best goal, was actually the winning goal against Sydney in the second game when we won 1-0 very late. And and my reasoning for that is because it was dramatic. Obviously, it was a dramatic late winner. But it also felt for me, I mean, obviously we went to the first game at home, Brisbane 2-0, we won. I mean, but it could have just been a fluke, you know? It felt like to me we'd sort of arrived. That second game that we, you know, back-to-back wins straight off the bat and the late winner. And we'd also beat Sydney FC because, you know, I think for me, I was like, well, Sydney FC are going to be one of the big teams in this league. And we beat them.
Statement win.
It was a statement win, and so a statement goal. So for me, like the best goal. But yeah, I think technically, if we're going to say the best technical goal, it's Guillermo Mai for me as well. So I can team up with Robbie on that one for best goal. I reckon. Well done, Guillermo.
Everybody wins for these, don't worry.
Yeah,
everyone's got one. Best player MVP. Best player MVP.
Oh. Yeah.
What do we think?
I'm quite intrigued to hear other people. I've gone with a bit of. I've surprised myself with the one that I've gone for. I didn't think I'd pick this person, but
why don't you go first? I'm still
I go first. You know what?
Yeah,
I won't say who. I won't say because I'll see if anyone else picks him, and I hope they do. But I'm actually going to go. I think everything that's good about Auckland and the way they play and everything, I think is for Strato. I think is the MVP at the moment. I think he's the biggest. I think the team almost looks a little bit fractured when he's not playing in the middle. I mean, he's not going to play a fantastic pass, and I'll take that back if he has, or he has been doing, but he just breaks everything up. The other team just don't get much of a chance in the middle of the park. He suffocates everything. He knows what his role is. He takes the ball off people. He tackles. He finds a man, and he moves everything forward. And I think he's the biggest. If you take him out of the team, I think Auckland look a lot weaker. Yeah, I think they look a lot weaker. Yeah, without him than any other player. So I'm going to go with him, but there's another person that could easily take it. We'll see if his name pops up.
Right. So, just one for Strata. Who wants to go next, John or Robbie?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, like I said earlier, I've got a soft spot for Marina. You know, the super sub. You know, Colombian flair and his big flappy ears. But I don't know. Like I was saying, because we're built on solid foundations and we're tough to break down, and that's why we are where we are. And I just think like Hiroki Sakai goes sort of unnoticed. I just think he's like pretty rock solid. You know, he's the captain, right? Seen him with the armband, like he overlaps really well. You know, when we get forward, he's just one of them players. He'll never give you anything less than a kind of 7 out of 10. So rather than a flair player, I'll go for Sakai.
All right, nice, fair enough, Robbie.
So I went with the strawberry blonde bomber, De Vries.
Yeah.
But I'm going to launch a very, very strong case for Dan Hall as the most valuable player. In this, I'm going to technicality here, given how much shakier we looked once he came off. You know, once he was out injured, we just lost that bit of stability at the back. Up until that point, him and Nando were easily the best centre-back pairing in the comp. Both technically very good on the ball, both fast, and both able to, you know, step in at any time, break up play, launch an attack. It's because he's not there. I don't know, just because when he was out, the next couple of games, you know, we were chopping and changing. Callan Elliott, Hiroki Sakai moved into the middle. Tommy Smith came in. Yeah, I don't know. I think there is a case for Dan Hall, but I'm still going to go with De Vries as the most consistent, most reliable. I don't know. It's how you interpret it. If you take player X out of the equation, what happens? Yeah. That's always in my head with MVP.
But Dan's been out for games, and we're still you're right. You're right. We have missed him, but we've been okay without him.
We've been okay, but you kind of think ahead. Had he been there the whole time, where would this team be now?
Yeah, they wouldn't have lost.
You always get an injury or two.
Yeah,
though,
potentially.
No.
But in saying that, you wouldn't have had Tommy Smith come into the team, and he's done fantastically. Since taking over as a starter.
Absolutely.
Whether that means they would have changed formation, so we might not have seen Mata and Mai as a combination until further down the track. I don't know. It's all a game of what ifs, but I don't know.
All right, but you're with Verstrati. But you would have done downhill possibly. Interesting because interesting because I had the similar thought, but Fernando, because that guy has he's been consistent. I mean, I know he's out now. But he changed his centre back partnership. Like you said, the two before were bang on. Then Sakai comes across, plays with him as well. Tommy Smith's in there now, and every game he looks really composed. He seems when there are those spells in the game when the opposition they're lumping balls into our box. He stands tall and I feel he commands one of the big commanding leaders in that box.
Yeah.
So I mean, and he's popped up with a couple. Has he scored 2 goals or certainly one? He's
definitely got one.
No, there's a bit more than that. I think he's got a couple.
2 or 3. Yeah, he's popped up a few times to get goals. So I'll go with Nando, and I just love his name. Named after the world's favorite chicken shop. It's brilliant. So
obviously
2 for De Vries though, right? So De Vries pops it, but I mean he's been fantastic.
Yeah.
So we'll give it to De Vries. All right. Final one. Most ridiculous. I mean, this is again a strange category.
Is this like most ridiculous moment?
Anything. I think it's open to interpretation. Yeah.
I think
category's very wide.
Not all the late goals we've scored that have obviously really kind of continued build momentum throughout the season. I think Logan Rogerson's 99th minute goal mouth scramble, to nick a point off Adelaide, like that's just how many people could say they scored in the 99th minute? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
can't be many.
It's like pandemonium after that goal, because weren't we sort of harshly done by the officials in that match a little bit? We sort of, it was a bit of a grind, and we would have been robbed. We would have felt robbed not getting anything from that game, and then 99th minute goal mouth scramble.
Was this 2-2 Adelaide talking about?
Yeah, 2-2.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There you go. People say about memory.
Here you go, Robbie.
Yeah, I'll go. I mean, mine was the same game. It was that decision that was just the most ridiculous for me. The fact that for Adelaide's second goal, I think it was, Adelaide player pulls on. Basically, he tries to rip Callan Elliott's shirt off him, and that somehow play on, and then they go off and score. I don't know, but there's been a few ridiculous, strange VAR calls, refereeing decisions. That was definitely up there for me.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Matthew?
Yeah. Well, I'd say, it's either between the Adelaide one or it was asking Matinho Jr. to come on and do 100 keep-ups, or try and do as many keepy-uppies as you can. It's basically like asking someone to go on and how many times can you breathe?
Can you stand on one leg for 10 seconds?
Yeah.
It was so easy for him, eh? It was embarrassing.
Absolutely.
It was embarrassing, but it was easy for him. It was easy.
Someone hasn't done their homework there, have they?
Yeah.
No, the guy's got absolutely tricks for days, and they've asked him to come on and do 100 keepy-uppies. I mean, how ridiculous. What a waste of talent.
Give him a chance to do something.
There's got to be. Yeah, he should be in the redemption thing as well. He needs a redemption arc as well, for sure.
We must talk to the club again about him going for the Guinness World Record, which is the most round the worlds, which is when he actually does like have to. He's up and down, isn't he? He's on his back, and he's I mean, that looks hard.
Yeah,
doing the keepy-uppies was.
I don't want to jump on the club's back, but they've had a bit of a nightmare with that one. So hopefully
I think that's a good. I think you might be in the winner there. I mean, I haven't.
The Adelaide game was ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, Matt coming to the game was a bit ridiculous. I have to say, when Matt came down to the game,
just being out the house. It was
Just being out of the house was
Going outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
it was
Sunlight.
I much like just the confinements of this nice little square.
Watching Matt as well. We're having this kind of like almost physical, like a barrier between him and the sand pit. And he would go to about 2 meters away, and I was in there with my toddler, and you wouldn't come any closer. And it was you just wouldn't feel it. It was like there was this force field against the beach.
That's right.
Yeah,
perfect. Exactly. There was something that was stopping me. That's why I don't like it. I play golf. As John would know, you're supposed to stay out the sand. Maybe that's what it is. You're not supposed to be in it.
All right, what are we going to go for? I reckon Martino Jr. just doing 100 kicks was the most ridiculous. I think that's a good shout. That's a good shout.
Happy days.
Nice one.
There you go. Well done.
And that concludes the half-term awards for Nice Drop of Port. Well done. Congrats to all the players and the beaches and the people. Good stuff. All right, John. We're going to say thank you very much and bid you farewell. Really appreciate you coming on, mate, and giving some of those insights. Yeah.
Privilege. Thank you, gents.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll
enjoy the derby, mate.
Yeah, we'll do. If I'm not on again, which I very much expect not to be, if the barrel ever gets scraped to Steve again,
your first quarter call if the first 20 people can't make it.
Stay humble, John. Stay humble.
Good luck with the rest of the season, and I'll keep an eye on the pod. Love you.
Yeah, cool, mate. All right,
good man. Thanks,
appreciate time. There we go. That was the best bit in the end.
Yeah, it was. It's good.
All right. We do have another guest. Who's going to come on now, and let me find the right buttons to bring him on. Daniel, hello, mate. We'll take most ridiculous off. There we go. How you going, mate? Oh, you're on mute.
G'day. How are we?
Oh,
there he is.
It is.
We're good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Nice. It's quite quiet, that crowd behind you.
No, if you're there, if you come to Ironbark, it's actually quite loud. It's a really kind of nice venue, and when you're right in the middle of it, they get loud. So if you've got the time, we played twice, I think, at Ironbark. So if you've got the time,
we've got two more games. We're this weekend and last game of the season against you.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
and where is what's it called? Ironbark.
Ironbark.
Yeah.
Ironbark. And where is it in Melbourne? Is it in Melbourne on the outskirts? Because I saw something about Geelong. You were down there at some point.
Well, I'm from Geelong, but Ironbark Fields is out in Tarneit, out in the western suburbs of Melbourne.
Suburbs. Right. Okay.
Way out west.
I see. And you've I did a little bit of research on Western. You know, I see that you guys bloody hit this A-League with a big right hook when you arrived. Semi-finalists first year up, was that right?
Yeah. Andrew Durante was one of the players that guided us to the final series. It didn't really go that well for us. I think we had to play all the games in Sydney, which is a classic APL move. Although I don't think it was the APL at the time. But yeah, it was right in the middle of COVID. We didn't manage to get it that year, but a couple of years later, a new coach, and we got there again.
You did, and I mean, I guess it feels like this is the sort of beauty of the A-League, that it's a kind of openish league. I mean, we've just started a team and we're top. What's the view from Melbourne and Western about what Auckland FC are doing this year in the football fraternity?
I don't know if I can speak for a whole city of 4 or 5 million people, but from my perspective, I think it's fantastic for the league. Having a brand new team come in, play really well, get great turnouts to games. It's the kind of thing that this league needs, and I think it was the kind of thing that Auckland really needed. So it's really, really great to see, and it kind of rejuvenates the league a little bit, because things were, starting to die down a bit from my perspective. But no, it's really good to see, and hopefully we can build a rivalry. I think we were the first team to knock you guys over in the end.
First of it, and a big one. It was, and
that's how it is.
We were there that day, and it's Matt's only
my condolences.
Yeah, and well, you tell them what you thought of. You tell Daniel what you thought of Western United, Matt.
Well, I think they're absolute world beaters. It's the only time I've ever. It's the only game I've seen live at the stadium, and that was Auckland 0 Western United. Yeah, I mean Barcelona in their heyday. I mean they're absolute. It was absolutely insane.
That must have been it, right? Yeah, it wasn't you attending the game. Of course not.
Well, I don't know. There's plenty that have said otherwise. They've certainly pinned a lot of blame on me that I feel is a bit unfair, but I'm having to wear quite a bit.
I warmly invite you to attend the game at Ironbark. I'd love to.
Yeah, well, that's right. I think they're more I think you guys should be chipping in and flying me over, because if I come over there, I think you.
Yeah, it would be worth
I
it.
just bring it over. Yeah, you just win every game 4-0 if I attend. But yeah, I mean everything that you tried that day just came off. Just everything. I mean, the guy. I wish I could know some of the names. There was a guy that
they were very direct. The team was very direct. I thought.
Western, there was the guy. Really is he Japanese or is he Chinese or Japanese guy?
3 Japanese players, so you're not really.
He's quite a tall guy. Yeah. It just kind of floats a bit. I mean, everything that he tried that game just came off. Every flick, every pass,
everything he touches, just amazing.
Yeah, he was fantastic. So all for Western United, I tell you. Yeah, I wouldn't fancy playing him every week from what I saw. Yeah, that's for sure.
You guys are having a good season. You guys are having a good season by your standards. I mean, I know you won it a few years ago, but you're a sort of playoff kind of team. Do you think? Is that where Western belong?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. We're a bit of a yo-yo team, to be honest. You know, one season we'll make playoffs, and the next season we'll finish 10th, and then we might finish 10th again, and then we're in playoffs again. So I think it kind of speaks to how competitive the league is. But you know, ideally, we really, as a club, want to establish ourselves at the top end. But it's really hard to do. You see the best teams in the ALeague just completely fall off some years. So you know, it's very difficult. But now that we've got our own home and we can kind of really set things up the way you know, and try and really figure out how it is we need to play at Ironbark to get good results. I think we're undefeated there so far this year, which is really good. But I think, you know, now that we kind of have this real like permanent home, we can really start to push on and produce positive results. But I'm not entirely convinced of our results at Ironbark. There's quite a few draws in that list of undefeated games this season. So we do need to kind of see how we go. But yeah, hopefully with the game coming up against Auckland, we can get maybe, I don't know, 4-0 win, maybe something like that.
Another 4-0.
Goals for like Danzaki, maybe, you know, a penalty for Danzaki, Bodic, Ibasuki, Grimaldi. I think that would go well.
Very plausible.
Another one.
Yeah.
Go on, Robbie, you go.
No, sorry, Dale. Yeah, I was just going to say, for me, it's like I have been thoroughly impressed with what Western have done this season. You know, when you compare them to that championship winning side, I think this season's team a bit more dynamic, a bit more entertaining. This season, that refresh my memory, I think the 1-0 Merchants from that year, like they're just very solid defensively.
Absolutely.
But you kept winning. To your credit, you know, you kept winning, you kept clean sheets. It was 1-0, 2-0, 2-1 here and there. But it was also a very old squad. It was an aging squad. I think it was probably the oldest in the comp at that season. Yeah. You had Alessandro Diamanti, who was well into his 30s, Jamie Young, who was well into his 30s, Leo Lacroix as well. Like 3 fantastic players, but it was an older squad. This time around, you've had a few more years under your belt, and you're seeing the academy people come through, and there's some hell good talent that are playing first team football and playing regularly as well.
Yeah.
It's just it feels like a different team under Johnny A, and he's been able to get so much out of this squad. And I just, from the start of the season, I saw them at the start of the Australia Cup, and it didn't feel like there was much there. But over the course of the following months, having these kids come through playing such great looking football, I think they're definitely a a chance to do something in the finals. It's when injuries strike for me is the key one. I just don't know if you guys have the depth to keep continuing on. If you lose, say, a Tomoki Imai, a Hiroshi Ibasuki, if Thurgate comes out, which is why I'm very intrigued to see what happens this week because he's suspended.
Yes.
If they come out of the team for any amount of time, how are they going to respond? That's the key thing for me. But at the moment, I think they're flying and they're doing really good.
Well, yeah, that's going to be the big question, right? So, with Thurgate out for this game, I would imagine that maybe Lawton comes in to the starting squad.
As long as he keeps his jersey on this time.
Yeah, that would be ideal. Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't get, a second yellow card. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Every game we've played, I think Thurgate's played every minute. So
yeah,
this is going to be quite different for them. Thurgate, he's not old, but he's probably our most experienced kind of like central midfielder. Bozanovsky's 20, Lawton's 21. We throw them in there. We've got, even players like Wallity on the wing. It is a very young squad. So when you do compare it to that championship team that, did so well and they kind of had the experience to grind out results and put themselves in the position where, they could win games and get to a grand final and take out a championship. So there is a bit of a question mark on whether that's something this team can do. But, when you do put in like young, exciting players that have, come through an academy system that it's quite difficult to set up when you're just starting out and making sure that you've got the right people in, making sure that you're able to set up the academy, you've got the right staff, you're training the players in the right way, the way that you want the club to play. So a lot of credit goes to them for producing the players that they have. But yeah, of course, there's going to be a question mark on if they can produce results when it comes to injuries. We do have an injury already in the back line. James Donachie is injured, which is giving Dylan Leonard a lot of time at central defense. Oh, he's fantastic, absolutely. Yeah. He's just completely taken it in his stride and just done absolutely magnificently. I'm a big fan of Dylan Leonard. I don't think Garuccio played in the last game that we played, so he's come back from injury, which means Shamoon would have come out of that squad. But other than that, I think it's almost unchanged from the last time we played.
It'd be pretty settled.
So it'll be just Thurgate out, Shamoon out, maybe bring in Lawton and Garuccio, and that's probably the final squad there. So yeah, it's going to be a big question.
You guys would say you're in good shape for this weekend's game.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got no injuries and we're in fairly good form. We haven't lost in. I mean, I suppose I don't even know. The men's results, women's results are kind of like merged in my mind. So I'm not even sure the last time we lost were that good. But it was sometime.
We've lost 4. We've lost 4, it says here.
Lost 4. Yeah, so I think we lost quite a few games early on, and then we've just kind of built from there.
Yeah. Last loss was to City just after New Year's.
Yeah. Yeah, it was that game. No, don't remind me.
Yeah.
I remember Sutton played quite well in the game we played against you. Saved quite a few good chances from Auckland.
But he's not there anymore, so...
No, Sutton's there. Sutton's still there. It's Heward Bell that's
Heward
left,
Bell, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
I'll retract that statement.
No, well, yeah, Heward Bell's kind of left because Sutton's really kind of made the role his own, and he's done really well. So
he's
far.
A good keeper. He is a good keeper too.
He is, and he's still quite young. The whole squad just really surprisingly young. So we'll see if they have the experience to take on a full season and make sure they can kind of grind out the results they need to finish in a top 6 spot and do well in the finals.
Nice. Hey, I have a slightly different question for you, Daniel. So Melbourne, Melbourne, as we know, has got 3 professional football teams in the ALeague. That's. I mean, does the city have enough love for football? Is my first question to have 3 teams. Is there enough fans to go around? And how does it all divvy up over there in Melbourne? Like, if you're a Western fan, do you have to be living in certain suburbs out west, or is it sort of a mixture?
It's a good question. In terms of how many fans there are in Melbourne, there are a lot of fans. But when you do set up quite late in a city where there are already two fairly established teams, one very, very established team in Melbourne Victory, it is an uphill battle to try and win fans when you've got, the real, hardcore football fans who have been football fans for years and years and years. They would have been supporting Victory from the start. So already it's an uphill battle. But, you look in the history of football in Melbourne, there's been a lot of support. There's been so much immigration that's come through Melbourne that's created football clubs that have, done, really well back in the old National Soccer League days. But obviously now we're in a whole new era, and we're at a point where we kind of need to establish ourselves and create an identity for ourselves. So that kind of brings on to the next part of your question, where, do we have this kind of same geographical divide? Yeah. So I definitely think that the club is very, very much established in the West, and that's where they're doing all of their engagement. Whether or not that's, do you support a team from the West if you're from the West? I'd like to think so, but again, when you're starting late relative to the other Melbourne teams, people have already made up their minds. But they've done a little bit of kind of engagement in the northern suburbs as well. But I don't think we're touching the other side of the river, for example.
What's your story, Daniel? Did you support one of the other teams, or did you come to football later?
So I've been a football fan, since childhood, which was a while ago. But no, I never really kind of got behind the existing teams in Victory and Heart. I don't know what reason. They just kind of didn't really appeal to me. So, I grew up in Geelong. So that's, for those that don't know, that is another city, maybe an hour southwest of Melbourne. So I grew up there. I don't live there anymore. I live in Wyndham. So for me, when they set up a club that was, going to initially be playing games, in Geelong, in Ballarat, I was from Geelong, living there. I thought, well, I love the sport, but I don't love the teams that already exist in this state. Maybe this is how I can really start to get involved. So I went to the information nights. And then I started, going to games and really, really grew to love it. And now I'm involved in the fan representative group and everything. So it's kind of taken over my life.
No, that's great. That's really good. And look, from what I've seen and what the club's trying to build in that Wyndham area, Western seem to be playing the long game here. Like when they came in, I know there was a bit of, I guess, pushback. So why are they getting it? Because they came in not having a place really. And for the first couple of years, Dale and Matt, just for your background, they were the nomads of the comp. Like they played home games all over.
Yeah,
all over
we said
Melbourne,
Geelong,
Ballarat,
way into Victoria. Then wow.
We played in Tasmania.
Correct.
So
now that they've established, even Tassie. Now that they've established themselves in Western Melbourne, what they're building there, where they are at the moment in Tarneet, they're going to build a 20,000 stadium, I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. 15.
Solid like 15, 850, something like that.
Yeah. But it's a proper football stadium.
There's another stadium coming, or this is the new stadium?
Yes, correct. They're going to build a new 15,000 seater stadium.
So, yeah.
Okay.
But the land around there, what they're planning to build is basically an entire community, schools, hospitals, all that sort of thing, and that is owned by the club. So they're building and fostering a proper community based around the football club. And I saw it on another podcast. They did a tour of the facilities, and basically they're trying to promote the club as like a throwback to European, communities where the football club was the center of the community. and that's what they're trying to build with Western, and I really applaud that, because it's different, and it's something you don't really get in other codes down this area. So like, fan of what you guys are trying to do.
Because I mean, I bring back old Ange Postecoglou into it. When you read about his backstory in Melbourne, it was very much like that. The Greek community were very much connected to their football club in there, and that became a real thing. Yeah, so that's lovely to bring that sort of thing back. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been one of those. It's been a long journey. We got a lot of stick for, when we initially kind of came in. There are a lot of bids that did come in to try and get those spots that were given to Western United and MacArthur over other clubs, which obviously caused a lot of issues with a lot of those supporters of a lot of existing clubs. You've got big clubs like South Melbourne, like Wollongong Wolves, big clubs that kind of felt like they got the the wrong end of the stick. So from the start, the club was up against it. They probably made promises that were a bit naive to make, saying, "Oh, we'll build a stadium in 2 years, it'll be there, boom, done." Sure, COVID happened and all that kind of stuff, but if you look at the plans that they've put in to build, like you said, entire communities, that is a long-term project. And I think when it comes to things like this, people in football need to be ambitious, particularly here where there's, the media is essentially
it's an AFL town, eh?
We are an AFL town, absolutely. I'm a big AFL fan as well, but yeah.
Oh, of course. Although Melbourne is such a sporting city. I mean, I know the AFL is huge, but anyone that's ever spent time there, you just see all these beautiful stadiums right by the city and all this different sport going on. So I guess if any city can have 3 teams, it is probably Melbourne. In this area, in this region.
The population is there. It's just about making sure you find the market and you're able to kind of establish yourselves in the area that you want to build. And I suppose for Western United, if the community is not there, they're going to just build it themselves. So
if you build it, they will come.
I hope it does.
Yeah, exactly. They will come.
As they say.
How many are going to be in there this weekend watching this game against Auckland?
I reckon it'll be a packed house. They're really pushing this game. It's I think it's first place versus third place. So what does it mean?
Attendance.
In terms of like the capacity of the venue, I reckon we're pushing 5K.
Yeah,
it's a 5K venue at the moment. So it's a fairly small place. But when it's filled, the fans are loud. They really get into it. It's much better than seeing 4 or 5K at Amy Park, where it's just in this
it looks in the big stadiums,
and you get lost in the crowd.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And do you have a hardcore active support like we have the Port, who stand and sing all game? Anything like that going on?
Yeah, we've got the Western Service crew for the men's and the Western Corps for the women's. So they're always there. They're always singing. The small group. The Port's managed to get some pretty big crowds.
The Western Service
crew. Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Sounds like some sort of plumbing business or something.
Well, you need to talk to them. Maybe they're doing that on the side. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. So they fund it. Yeah.
And so they get into it and they all stand and sing and chant and do a bit of marching.
Yeah, they'll be in Bay 8, singing all their songs, which they've been doing ever since we've been playing in Geelong, in Melbourne, in Ballarat. So
yeah, and it never spreads to the rest of the 5,000. These songs, then no one else. It's one spot again.
You like to kind of see all the fans get involved. It can be difficult always when you're trying to, get an entire crowd involved. Hopefully at Auckland they've been managing to do it quite well. Some chance you kind of get everyone involved.
It's great down. It's great down the Portland. Yeah, I mean my dream is to have or even the whole South Stand in Mount Smart standing and singing. Yeah. Maybe at the Derby we're going to get.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I like it when it's a bit more contagious, and everyone just starts doing it.
Yeah.
Rather than just one group of people who are standing, the others are sitting. This has to end. I want to bring an end to this. I don't know how. I don't know how.
If we achieve anything, if we can achieve anything, that's what we're going to try and achieve.
My legacy. All right, we'll round it up the show. We always have a little prediction of the upcoming game. Of course, that is Western United versus Auckland FC. Who wants to go first? Robbie, why don't you go first? Prediction for the weekend.
Look, Western's in very good form. Auckland coming off the bye. Both teams without their best midfielders. To me, it kind of has draw written all over it. Western have goals in them, and I see Auckland scoring as well. So I'm going to say 2-2.
2-2. All right, Matthew.
Yeah, this one's a tough one, isn't it? I've got to. I feel like I can. I feel like I could get a little bit of redemption here, but I could also just add salt to the wound, couldn't I? If I completely, I think the smart call would be for me to pick Western United to win something like 3-0, and then hopefully the universe hears me wherever I am. And it goes, oh, okay, I can see what he's doing. It just flips it round for me, and Auckland end up winning 3-0. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that ridiculous theory. I think I'm gonna go with 2-0 to Western United. I'm gonna curse them. They're gonna get the curse.
In a way to fit, you're gonna give them the curse.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass
throw it over to the Western. All right, Daniel.
Yeah, honestly, Ironbark has been a tough place for us to score. The wind there is really hard to deal with. So with that in mind, I think I'll go 4-0 Western United. Goals from Dunblackie, Maldi.
Lovely.
Why is it so windy at Ironbark? Is it by the sea or
something?
something?
You got the southerly wind. It's not really that close, but you got the southerly wind coming through because there's not much around. And it always blows to the same end.
And if you hit it right, it flies. Noah Botic scored a screamer from about 35 yards a few weeks back.
You saw the free kick goal from Central Coast as well, just the other week.
Straight in from about 45 on the angle.
Yeah,
right. So it's gonna be swirling around, and we've got no Nando,
no swirl. One direction.
Oh, One Direction. All right.
Yeah.
It's a band, wasn't it? One Direction.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. All right, me. I actually think we might get beat just because the defense with the people who are missing, and also having seen Western in action, really really good side. I think we're gonna lose 2-1.
Hey, get on the bandwagon.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they win. But I think we might pick up a defeat. I'm kind of wanting to get it out of the way before the derby because I had a little thought. Geez, what if we lose the derby? And I thought, well, maybe we need to get a defeat out of the way now.
Okay.
Because we've got our big derby coming up in 9 days, Daniel. In 9 days, we're playing Wellington again at home.
Yeah, that's how it works. Like you lose the game, then you win the next one, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, you never lose
that's
two
what I'm
games,
thinking.
right?
No.
Wow.
Anyway, we can't change a thing. We can just speculate. But there is some news tonight. Also, we're going to be doing a live podcast from Lily World Bar on the day of the derby. So February 22nd, Nice Drop Report's going to be doing a show right from inside the heart of the derby. We're gonna kick off about 2:30, run for about an hour and a half. I don't know who's going to watch and listen, but hopefully people who might want a little bit of a build-up before they go to the derby, put it on in the car or, have it on their phone at home before they head out. We might have some team news. We're going to have, hopefully the chief exec, Nick Becker's going to come on. Maybe even Paddy Gower may come on and give us a little bit of a Wellington flavour. If he's around at the ground, we'll try and rope him in, or some other Wellington fans. So, we're pretty excited to have all the technical capability to be out in the wild, get out of our houses, and see if we can get a live podcast.
Yeah,
and Robbie
I'm
won't
happy
be
for
there,
you guys.
So, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We'll try cross live to you. We'll try cross live to you, mate.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we won't have a podcast next Thursday, but we will be going live on Saturday from the Wellington derby, which will be really exciting. But of course, first, we've got Western United on Saturday. And looking forward to the game. So Daniel, good luck to you guys. Hope it is a good game. Yeah.
Hope so. Go West.
Yeah, go West. We might just finish by saying up the port, which is what we normally say.
Up the port.
Up the port. And let's get a win.